I would have to say I highly disagree about the war in Afghanistan not being imperially motivated. I think the problem with talking about this war is that when we talk about 9/11, it really didn't start there. I mean,
that was not the beginning point. Yeah.
Definitely not. I mean, the beginning point was the fact that Afghanistan became a nation state. But it is not a nation nor a state. It is a conglomerate of different areas where indigenous people lived, and they had no say in how that state was built. That was imposed on them by the West. That was the very beginning, more than 100 years ago. But then the partition of India is also an important part that played into it, the creation of Pakistan with people from Afghanistan that never agreed to become a part of a different nation. Yeah. But then also the fact that in '79, when the Soviet invasion happened, that the US had already gone into Afghanistan and really planted the seeds for terrorism there. They left the Mujahideen there. They really put billions into creating terrorism and creating a breeding ground for terrorism. And they were able to leave. And as an international community, we have built a world where countries like Afghanistan, or most countries in African nations or in Asian nations, they have no voice in international politics. They have no way to deflect any involvement from outside countries. And by using this perspective, we're trying to justify that it is up to us to barge into a country, change their way of politics, and that we have some sort of justification to do that. We just need to understand the country well enough, or their culture. That is definitely something I disagree with. I think that is by nature very imperialist. And I think also if you look at the US invasion in after 9/11, I mean, the Taliban were actually an ally of the US. They had been brought into New York, they had been shown around. There's an independent cover and a whole article on bin Laden, who was called something like the Arab Mujahideen, that some sort of heroic title, because in 1993, America wasn't suffering because of terrorism. That was the Afghan people who were suffering. That's already where the invasion started. Yeah. So to then say that 9/11 was something that happened with good intentions, the US never signed the Rome Statute. Yeah. So there's no international criminal court that can hold them responsible for what they did in Afghanistan. Yeah. So I think to say that there were good intentions, the first good intention would have been to ratify that convention and to be liable for what you do in a different country.